So this video, I just want to try and give a quick overview on flip machining. So machining sheet material, but from both sides. Now, it can get quite complicated if you've got lots of flipped parts, different regions. I've laid out a very simple file here as an example, which hopefully should give a kind of understanding of a good way to lay it out so we can visually understand what it is you want. Ideally, when we're doing flip machining, it will have a 3D part as well as curves. 3D part means we've always got something to reference against. We can double check that no curves have moved by accident and stuff. And you know, these things do happen, so it's always nice to have that 3D model to reference against. So in this example here, I've just basically given us a rectangle with a bevel on either end. Now this would need to be machined from both sides, from the top edge to get that bevel, and then we need to machine from the underside to get this bevel as well. So first of all, is the best way to lay it out. So let's say I've got a sheet here with 4 of them. I'll nest them nicely in the center. Now the main thing is when we flip a sheet is that we flip them on dowels. So we're always drilling our 8mm holes, maybe 10mm, depending on the thickness of your material. These dowels act as our location. We can't just flip on the bed and line it up with the edge of the machine because it's not an accurate locator. So what we do is we machine 4 dowels into each corner. Once we've cut the first side, we will then rotate the sheet, and we'll rotate it this way. We'll flip that over, and then the dowels, we'll then put wooden dowels in the bed, and then our holes would go and slot down back over on top of the dowels. This is the best way for us to get a really accurate alignment when we're flipping the sheet. So what's important is when you're nesting your parts onto the sheet is that you always allow a bit of space. Now ideally we'd have a 100 by 100mm box kind of in each corner. This would mean, because as well on the bed we're going to have other dowels that we're going to need to dodge. We might have bolt holes as well that we need to dodge where we can't put the dowel in. So being able to have a bit of space to move around is very important. If you're ending up drawing these dowel locators yourself, the main thing is that they're all mirrored from the center point. I couldn't, for example, have a dowel there and then another dowel here, because when we flip that over, our sheet isn't, the holes aren't going to line up. So the dowels always have to be mirrored off the center this way and the center this way as well. So all our 4 dowels are mirrored off center lines. So we lay this out, so we've got evidence of our first mitre that we're cutting on this side, and then we draw our second side as well. And what I've done is I've made this evident by putting in a mirror line, and this shows basically how it's rotating. Now some people may lay it out and they may put their mirror line going up this way, and in which case if our sheet's over here it's being flipped the other way. Now the reason we try and avoid doing this is being flipped that way, for example. Now the reason we try and avoid doing that is because it's a lot more difficult for us to flip a sheet over that way. So on the bed down, on the bed in the workshop, on the machine bed, we will always flip on the x-axis. So we'll always rotate this way. It's a lot easier for us to handle downstairs in the workshop. And that's just our standardized system to avoid any mistakes. So we will always try and put our mirror line going along the X. Then on our second side, again, I've got our curves, and as well as that, I've also got any kind of our 3D parts as well. Any regions as well, all highlighted as machining. That's kind of a very simple way to lay it out. Showing us both sides. Some people kind of show us in layers, but that can get a bit confusing. A very simple way is for us to have a sheet layout for side 1 and a sheet layout for side 2, and importantly, showing us your mirror line, so we just can confirm exactly how you're expecting us to flip it. That's a quick overview. Hopefully it should shed some clarity on how we machine those, and why we need these spaces in the corners for dowel holes. So be careful not to nest your sheets too tightly if it's being flipped. But yeah, any other questions, as always, do get in touch.